The President.
Number 23. Benjamin Harrison. Benjamin Harrison was a unique president in that he and his grandfather, William Henry Harrison, are the only grandfather-grandson pair to each be elected to the executive office. He also was the last president to have a beard. Harrison was one in a long line of Republican chief executives, stretching all the way back to Abraham Lincoln in 1861, and broken only by Harrison's Democratic predecessor, Grover Cleveland. Harrison was born on August 20th, 1833, on the family farm near North Bend, Ohio. He had been named for his great-grandfather, who was a signer of the Declaration of Independence. At Farmers College near Cincinnati, Harrison met his bride-to-be Caroline Scott, and they married in 1853. Afterwards he became a lawyer, and even served as the city attorney of Indianapolis. During the Civil War, Harrison commanded the 70th Regiment of Indiana Volunteers, earning the nickname Little Ben for his short stature. He completed the war as a brigadier general. In the late 1870s, Harrison began to dabble in politics. He ran for, but lost, the governorship of Indiana in 1876. He was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1880, but lost re-election in 1886. During the election of 1888, Harrison was nominated for president along with Levi P. Morton for vice president by the Republicans. His opponent was the Democratic incumbent president Grover Cleveland. Though Cleveland won most of the popular vote, Harrison was able to gain a lead in the Electoral College and therefore win the election. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison are famous for being the first family to have electricity in the White House. They were so scared of being electrocuted, however, that they would ask the electrician to turn the switches off. Harrison enacted several laws during his term, including ones which expanded the Civil Service and ones which allowed more Civil War veterans to gain federal pensions. He was also instrumental in making sure the U.S. had fleets in both the Atlantic and the Pacific. The Pan American Union was formed during Harrison's administration, as were 6 new states added to the Union: North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Washington, Idaho, and Wyoming. In 1890, the Sherman Antitrust Act was passed, banning monopolies and trusts. At this point in American history, companies would form business groups called trusts, which would wipe out competition. This act helped stop this process. The Sherman Silver Purchase Act was also passed that year, making the government buy more silver. In payment of the silver, the government issued notes which could be turned in for either silver or gold. So many people wanted gold in return for their notes that people began worrying about a gold shortage, a worry which led to the Panic of 1893. The most controversial act of Harrison's presidency was the McKinley Tariff. This tariff was set so high that prices skyrocketed. In fact, it was the highest tariff yet in the nation's history. This would prove to be a big factor in the election of 1892. The Republican Party again nominated Benjamin Harrison that year, but swapped his vice president from Levi Morton to Whitelaw Reid. The Democrats again nominated Grover Cleveland, this time with Adlai E. Stevenson. Largely because of the McKinley Tariff, Harrison lost to Cleveland 277 electoral votes to 145. Adding to Harrison's grief, his wife died right before the election. In 1893, American revolutionaries overthrew the Hawaiian government and asked the United States to annex it as a territory. Harrison quickly presented it to Congress, but it did not make a move on the new land before President Cleveland scrapped the bill. Hawaii would have to wait to be added to the United States. After his presidency, Harrison went to Indianapolis and resumed being a lawyer. He married Mary Dimmock in 1896 and had a child with her at age 64. Harrison died on March 13, 1901.